we were in a senior team meeting talking, going through the final logistics of a layoff that was to happen the following week. And long meeting, very draining, really depressing. Not something you want to be part of, but it has to happen from time to time. And we were discussing, sort of the sequence of events of things that would be happening over the next week with respect to the people who were being laid off. And I got into a discussion with a colleague of mine about a particular salesperson in my group who was on the layoff list. And the question was really around whether or not he should be going to a trade show in early part of the week. And I was arguing that he should go, and my colleague was arguing that he shouldn't go. And to complicate matters a little bit further, the guy was in my group, but he was in the facility that my colleague was the general manager of. So we each had a little bit of a vested interest in this particular person and how this situation would be handled. And we had a pretty lengthy discussion about it, and the point of my colleague was, hey, going to a trade show is like a reward, and why should this guy get a reward just before we lay him off? What message does that send to the other people who are being laid off and to the people who are not being laid off? And my point was, really, going to a trade show is no reward per se, and wouldn't it send a weird signal if this guy who always goes to trade shows because it's his job all of a sudden doesn't go? And so those were kind of the two opposing points of the argument. We argued for quite a long time, and it got a bit heated, and I couldn't understand why she was putting up such a struggle. Really, I thought was my decision, given it was someone in my group, as well as I managed all of the trade show participation as well. And so after the argument got to a certain point in time, I just let out and just said, hey, stay the F out of my department. And that stopped the argument, immediately. And I kind of got my composure after a few seconds, and eventually moved on to other topics. And, I had always felt like, my group was my group, and I tried to fix the problems in my group and didn't spend as much time worrying about the problems in other groups, let them fix their own problems, and I wanted the same courtesy extended to me. And as I've gone through, I've realized that's not an appropriate outlook, especially when you're part of a senior team, that it's really a team, and everybody needs to weigh in, and their views need to be respected. And at that particular time, I didn't do that. I didn't respect the views of my colleague. I sort of shut her off and put my foot down and said that I would take care of things that happened in my group. Who knows what the right decision was in that case, but certainly the way I went about it wasn't appropriate. And I've thought about that since then, and definitely have tried to work better in a team concept at the senior level since then.